Hi everyone, welcome back to Be Rich. Today Arun was reading an article about HSBC Bank and the article kind of confused him a little bit. And instead of taking the opportunity to explain to him, I thought I'd explain it to you. So those of you who have similar doubts can get some clarity on the same thing. So what is it, Arun? What is the article about?
I'll read the headlines of the article. It says, HSBC's profit sinks and $3 billion impairment on Chinese bank.
So did you read the full article or I only read the headlines?
I didn't understand the headline, so I didn't read the
So you
article.
didn't read. Okay. Impairment loss is a very fancy way of saying HSBC is a global bank, right? They have different businesses all over the world, right? Do you know what HSBC stands for?
Hong Kong Shanghai Bank Corporation.
Yeah. Hong Kong and Shanghai are in China. So they have lots of dealings in China.
Okay.
They're a British Chinese bank, right? So they have a lot of business dealings in China. And you know what is happening in China?
Real estate problem.
Yes. There's a real estate meltdown happening in China. So a lot of the big real estate builders, the real estate boom, which is fueling growth in China, has come to a grinding halt. Some of it is attributed to COVID. Some of it is attributed to poor policies by the government. Whole mixture of reasons. And plus the current political climate between US and China is also adding more fuel to this problem. So HSBC will directly be affected by this because they are bankers who are present in China and real estate guys borrow money. So they've borrowed money from different arms of HSBC.
Bank.
So one of those Chinese operations, they have to allocate funds for loans which are going to turn bad. So a bank lends out money. The builder builds.
Okay.
He's supposed to sell and pay the bank's interest and principal back. If the builder collapses and he's not going to pay it off, the bank still has to give money back to the depositors. Right? That's how banks work. They take money from the depositors and they lend the money to people.
In higher interest rate?
Yeah. So they give you 6% interest and they'll lend it for 12% loan and they'll take a spread and, make money in the middle.
Okay.
So though this guy has not paid them back, he still has to pay the depositors. People the bank has borrowed from. The bank also gives issues bonds. It takes depositors. So this is the way the banks have borrowed money. And between banks, they also borrow. So HSBC has to pay it back, regardless of what the real estate guy does. That is a separate issue. So they have to write it down in their books.
Okay.
So out of their money, they declare profit of $5 billion or some $6 billion profit they declared. Now this has come, this Chinese problem has come. So they had to take some of that money and say, okay, let's keep it there. They had to write it down. Impairment means, let's say the book value is 100 rupees. Now 100 rupees book value has come down to 50 rupees. So they have to adjust for that in that Chinese operation. So this has happened. And another problem that's happened is they had a French retail operation in France. HSBC retail. Retail is directly selling B2C. That is like credit card, having banking operations and all those operations. They decided to sell that off. In that also, they have been charged another $2 billion. So this Chinese arm has taken $3 billion. This French arm has taken $2 billion. So overall, their profit is down by that 80%. It's come down to $1 billion. From 5 point some odd billion dollars has come down to $1 billion. Of course, immediately as an investor, you tend to worry. If this has happened, this is a capital problem for HSBC. Capital meaning bank having enough money. So the CEO has come out and said, no, there's no problem. We're still capitally adequate. You don't have to worry. And even distributing dividends to investors, there's no problem. Whatever we have committed to distributing, we will distribute. Okay. This is all because the interest rates have been going up. Right?
Okay.
Those interest rates have been going up.
So it has to do with the US interest rate or China's interest rate?
No. This is all US and Europe. Globally, everywhere, all banks are pushing interest rates up because to fight inflation, to make money more harder for people to get in their hands, so prices will cool down. So this interest rate cycle, HSBC is being rewarded. And they also are forced to buy a bank at a very discounted price. And there also they made more profits. They bought a bank for nothing, right? And they got lots of profit there, plus the interest rate. So they made a lot of money.
Okay.
So that's why he's saying, don't worry. But the interesting thing is, if you've been following the news about HSBC, they're taking a big pivot. From being Hong Kong and China based, they're paying more and more attention to India. The funny thing is, 5 years ago, they left India thinking India is not really going to do.
It doesn't have much opportunity.
Yeah, the China is a better. They betted on China.
Okay.
Now COVID happened. Xi
We are in
Jinping's
a better
policies happen,
situation.
and the American-China problem is happening, the Taiwan problem is happening. So they take a U-turn and they come and saying, actually, India is safer.
So
India
they
is
are
better.
coming back to us.
Yes, because the simple reason right now in India is a stable environment. Regardless of what you feel about the politics of it, if you look at India as a country compared to all its neighboring countries, democracy still works, laws still work, and it's a stable country.
So we are in a better situation now.
Correct.
Yeah.
And there's prospects for immense growth in India. We have a very young population, right? And our population is expanding and growing, especially in the northern half of India. Population is expanding and growing. So these are all opportunities for banks because there are new customers, new businesses are coming. Then HSBC's banks spread out over the world, and they also have big billionaires who are their clients, right? Who want to invest in India, all these emerging markets. Like I said in the previous video, equity, they do not know. Those guys who have billions of dollars do not know where to invest in India. So HSBC will tell those guys, don't worry, I'll manage your money for you. I'll invest in India for you and make you profit. I'll assure you 10%, 12% for your billions. They'll come to India and they'll lend it in India and they'll do all this in India and they'll make more money. So they also have opportunities. So same way how private equity works. Banks are also in another way of private equity, venture capitalism also banks. Banks are the OGs of it. They're the original pioneers. They're all, if you go back, all empires were built on the backs of banks. If a good empire has become very successful and very big, it is because it had a very good banker and a banking system. In history, if you notice, even Alexander the Great, to build an empire from all the way from Greece, coming to India, if we had to build an empire like that and hold it in his hand, it is on the back of great banking system and bankers. Even in India, the Mughals, even the British were all...
So, as of now, it is known as bank, but back then it would have been known in a different name.
Any name if you want, but because of what the transaction is happening, they call money lenders, they call financiers, you want whatever you want to call it, investors, but basically they're all bankers. Even the British, the way they were able to control over India was not because of UK. The British Crown did not send money here. They very smartly used Indian bankers against India itself. Because bankers, in the day, are greedy. They also have investors. They have to make money. So they really don't care who you're fighting. Even famously, the Rothschild family. Anand talks about the Rothschild family, the biggest family, oldest family. They're the bankers. They're a very wealthy family. They were very famously will always fund both sides in a war. They don't see good or bad. They don't see good or evil. So if you want to fight with me and I want to fight with you and I need money, you need money, they'll lend money to both sides. As long as we pay them back, they'll be like, And it's good always to bet on both. Right? So, it's like betting on two companies which are fighting each other. If I'm making a play on what we call electric vehicles, I'll place bets on Tesla, I'll place bet on BYD, Toyota and everyone, because they can all fight. But whoever wins, I tend to make money. One guy fails, it doesn't matter. But I place.
But the profit will be more than the loss.
Correct. So the profit beats the loss. That's the kind of outlook these bankers have, which is fine. And that is the kind of bets HSBC has made across the globe. And the bets they've made in China have incurred some losses. That is the impairment loss, which they're showing in their books. But they're a great bank. They'll be fine. They'll get through this. Most of these banks will have to get a slap on the wrist from here and there. But end of the day, they're very large and they will sail through this. Not a problem. Did I give you clarity on the article?
Yeah.
Next time, read the whole article. Don't be scared when you read a term which you don't understand. Read the article and see if you can pick up what it's about. If you're still not able to understand, ask me and I'll be more than happy to explain it. I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast as I was explaining what impairment is and how banking HSBC does, how it's done in the past, how it's going to do in the future. Thanks guys for watching the podcast and we look forward to seeing you in the next one. Bye.
Thank you.